get for living in New York City. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you are new, please take a second to subscribe. Today I'm going to be sharing with you guys some tips that will hopefully help you land a research position as an undergrad. The first thing is to contact your school's faculty when you're starting your intro bio, intro to general chemistry. I think talking to those professors one-on-one regarding your research interests would really help you. Even if they directly can't offer you any research opportunities, I'm sure they will get you in contact with someone that will. If your school is affiliated with a major hospital or a research institution, to reach out to those faculty members and those research departments, because they will favor you from being from a school that's affiliated with them. For example, if you go to, let's say, Barnard University in New York and you want to look for research opportunities, maybe get in contact with Columbia because they're going to favor Barnard students over, let's say, NYU students. Those are just examples, but they're going to prefer having students that are affiliated with their institution versus students who are not. So next, if you went to a college like mine where it wasn't affiliated with a major institution or a research facility, then you need to make an effort to reach out to other hospitals and other research institutions on your own. And what I recommend doing is coming up with a very concise email that you can send out to 5 to 10 different research labs and start from there. I do definitely recommend applying to more than one because the chances of getting accepted are quite low, especially when you're still a freshman with lack of research experience. So the way you want to structure your email is by first introducing yourself, your background, your year you are in undergrad. Since it is much harder as a freshman to get a research position because of our lack of experiences, I highly recommend reflecting on experiences, classes that you took, and mentioning those and connecting those to the qualities that they demonstrate. And that will be helpful in a lab environment. So for example, precision, patience, collaboration, hard work, things like that. Those are qualities that work very well in a lab environment. So highlighting those experiences and connecting them to those traits is very important. So something that might seem obvious, but a lot of us forget, is when we're, applying to multiple positions at once, like I said, you should apply to 5 to 10 different research labs initially. You tend to think that it's okay to kind of spam everyone with the same generic email, but it's always important to make it specific to each research department. So while, sharing your experiences and your traits, that paragraph can generally stay the same. You always want to have a paragraph where you're actually talking about why you're interested in that particular research department. Talk about their research interests, what you connect with, talk about the things you want to contribute, and show your interests and passions. Show them that you're not just applying to apply, but you're actually interested in whatever it is that you're doing. And it's okay to not understand all the nuanced scientific concepts behind every research, study. It's not your place to understand everything. It's still very soon. It is your place to learn more, show your curiosity, and show your willingness to work hard and learn more, and show them that you're willing to contribute to their research interests. And in terms of finding those research labs, there's always Google, there's always job searching sites such as Indeed, Glassdoor, ZipRecruiter, things like that. Another thing I highly recommend is really networking. So that involves, asking your friends, asking your classmates, asking your professors, academic advisor, asking any doctors you come across or work with. Ask them, do they know of any labs that are hiring new students? People are more than willing to help, or at least get you in contact with someone that will. So I applied to a lab that was pretty small and they were actually full at the time, so they couldn't accommodate an additional student. However, instead of just straight up rejecting me and not offering me any help, they were actually able to recommend another lab that they knew was looking for new students. So I contacted this new lab and I told them, you know, so-and-so referred me to you to get to know more about your research and to contact you because you were looking for people to hire. And by sharing that person's name, we had a person that we mutually knew. And I think that really helped because I ended up being invited for an interview and I was later accepted for that lab position. So another thing you want to take into consideration is paid versus unpaid lab positions. So mine was unpaid. If you are still new, if you're still inexperienced, it's going to be much tougher to find a paid lab position. It's not impossible, it's just a little bit harder. So something that I recommend is if you want to build up your research experience, build up your resume, is to open yourself to unpaid experiences. That way you can hone those, you know, lab skills, actually then apply to jobs and tell them, you know, I know how to culture cells, I know sterilization techniques and things like that. And that's because you actually had some prior unpaid research experience. So that's just something to keep in mind. I know not everyone has the luxury of doing unpaid work. Another thing that I want to add to this is before diving into bench research, which is, you know, in a typical laboratory setting, you know, you have your own bench and you're doing, you know, lab techniques such as cell culturing, pipetting, sterilization, PCRs, things like that. And before you get started with things like that, consider doing clinical research, as those are typically easier to come by, and also consider doing psychology related research. While I would consider those two research experiences pretty different from one another, you know, you learn different skills, I think as a whole they are a great experience. And if you're planning on applying to medical school, you know, clinical research looks just as well as benchwork research. And, you know, before obtaining benchwork research, I think it's nice to have clinical research that you can talk about because you're still developing a lot of the same skills. If you have psychology courses, consider talking with your professor and asking them if you can turn a research idea into an actual project. A lot of the times, professors are already working on things you can get involved in. The last thing I want to end off on is if you're invited for an interview, don't be afraid to ask questions. At that point, the lab just wants to know, your PI just wants to know, are you a good fit for the lab? Do you know, possess the qualities that would make you a good lab member? You know, are you curious? Do you work well with others? Are you curious in the research that they are doing? If there's anything you don't understand, don't be afraid to ask those questions. You're not going to get penalized for not understanding those things because, you know, you're still new. You still haven't dived your feet into what it is that they're doing. If you want to take the extra initiative, I recommend, you know, looking up articles that they've published in the past, researching those things, and then actually coming to the interview with certain questions in mind. Because again, it shows that you did your research, it shows that you're curious to learn more, and it just shows that you're taking that extra step to be involved. And don't be afraid to actually talk about the things that you look forward to learning and contributing. I just wish you the best of luck. Don't be intimidated by this process. You give it 2 to 3 weeks before you reach out to them again or you apply to more positions. Just do not forget to apply early because a lot of these lab positions, they actually hire about a year in advance. So let's say you're interested in a summer research position, you would actually have to apply, let's say, in the fall. So definitely be a little bit of a few steps ahead. It's possible to find some last minute research opportunities, but it's always better to be ahead of the game and actually have a better shot by applying early. But I would say don't rush into it. You know, I think sophomore year is a good time to start doing research. Enjoy your freshman year. Don't apply until you feel like you're ready to dive your feet into research. I hope this video was helpful for you guys. Please leave in the comments below what else you would like me to cover, and if you enjoyed this video, please thumbs up. I hope to see you guys again in a future video. Bye!